welcome back to another week at Beyond the Trailer Park. A little frigid this week, but we managed. We didn't actually get a blizzard in Canada, oddly enough. But guess who did get the snow? As soon as she unmutes herself. Unmute yourself. There he is.
I got it. I got
All right. She got the snow.
Got the snow down in Georgia.
So now, I know you were in Atlanta, Miss Ashley, and you saw snow, but is there any in your neck of the woods?
There was, from what I understand, because I saw the post on Facebook, there was flurries.
Okay.
And it was just like, oh, it's snowing. Okay, talk to you later, because it was done.
Yeah.
Whereas when, it started snowing in Atlanta Friday night when we got there, and when I woke up Saturday morning, it was like a light dusting on the ground. It looked like dew,
Okay.
But I was able to make a dime, quarter size ice snowball, and I threw it at Bobby. That was like the highlight of my day.
And did you hit him?
Yes.
All right. Well, it's too bad you didn't have enough to make a snow angel or something.
Yeah, no, we didn't have enough for that. Mm-mm.
Oh well. Come on up. We got lots.
Yeah, apparently all I have.
We got nothing.
Yeah, I know. How could Beth be living in Pennsylvania and not get any snow?
Because
we have a little bit still on the ground from a week ago, but we got one little flurry that lasted about 10 minutes. I don't even know if it was Thursday night or Friday, one of those days, and I was like, that was it. Which is what they said might happen because we were right on the cusp. We're
right
on that line of we either were going to get 3 to 6 inches or zilch, and we got zilch.
Oh well, we got zilch as well. We didn't get any actual snow happening here.
That's unheard of. I mean, really? No snow in Canada, but snows in Georgia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still have snow. We still have snow on the ground. It's just from last week. We don't have anything new. That's all. Like I said, we got more than enough for you to make angels and snowballs and fucking forts and whatever the hell else you want to make. So,
Well, hopefully I'll get to do that next year.
Well, that'd be this year now.
Oh, yeah, that would be this year, wouldn't it? Hopefully I'll get to do it this year.
Yeah, because you're going to come down for up for Christmas.
For Christmas.
Up for
Let
Christmas.
me put it to you this way. This past weekend was supposed to be our winter fun weekend. They had to cancel it because we have no snow.
And yet, we were when I was in Toronto yesterday at the restaurant, they had a news channel up on the screen in the restaurant. And
Were you laughing at all of us down here in the South that got snow and didn't know how to drive?
Yes. Well, they were showing in Philadelphia the Rocky stairs and people skidding down the stairs. One guy's doing it on his stomach without a flying saucer or a magic carpet or anything, and I was like, wow, that's ballsy.
That's how we do it down here.
Was it intentional?
It looked that way, yes, because the caption was sledding on the Rocky stairs or something like that, but I'm like, that dude hasn't got a sled.
That's how we
see. Now, see, when I was in university, we did a thing where, because, we didn't have any toboggans or anything because we were supposed to be, grown-ups in school, but we would steal trays from the cafeteria and we would go tray bogganing. And
my college ended up on David Letterman. He remember when he used to show off the trays?
Yes.
My college actually got no recognized. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, we used to do that, and the old fiberglass trays were always the best. We wanted those instead of the newer plastic ones.
Good old
So,
days.
absolutely. So, Ashley, have you ever like tobogganed or anything?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
well,
And
damn. When you
anytime I try to go anywhere that has snow, it never snows.
well, see, now we had the green Christmas this year, so next year or this year, I'm sure we're going to get lots for you.
Do you know how
And
disappointed I'm going to be if I come to Canada and don't see snow?
yeah.
Okay, I've gone as far north as I'm physically going to
Well,
possibly go.
the good thing is, if for some reason there is a green Christmas, there is a very small ski hill in town, so we could theoretically go and have like dinner at the ski hill or some shit like that.
Right?
So because they make snow, even if we don't like have any natural snow, they have snow machines and they make it.
Right?
So, we can find some. It might take us a little while, but we will find some.
Definitely.
And, and the thing that happened last week is happening again. Katie's telling me that even though it says we're live, she cannot find us.
Really?
That's really, yes. So that's really annoying. Says the Hangout says you are live, but I got nothing.
All right.
Yeah, on here. Because I checked the channel last week and there wasn't any flags or anything on it, so I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I'm trying to go to. She's trying to look it up on YouTube, right? Or on the link.
On the Google Hangout view link, which is what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Oh wait, now it's working for me.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
And
working for me. Well, that's weird. I'm going to give her a link. So we'll just edit all this shit out when I do the audio later.
you gotta leave this one in here. No, you gotta leave all that in here. No.
Hey, if all my foobarring on Saturday was left in the hereditary religion protest, you gotta leave yours in.
Oh, tell us a bit about that actually, because Beth got to do some hosting of her own on the weekend. Unexpectedly,
Oh,
but she still got to do
yeah,
it.
unexpectedly, yes. Normally I am just a lurker. I'm not one to get too involved. What you see on Monday nights is my involvement. But the fifth annual protest against international protest against hereditary religion, I've been following since about the midway through the second year, starting into the third year, and then last year work got in the way. I watched some, participated in some of it, but I was never one to host any of it. Well, because of the storm, some snafus came up, and I was
Mm-hmm.
on call for work, so I didn't want to commit to anything, although I wanted to, but I just didn't feel comfortable and then have to back out. Well,
Yep.
about not even an hour before the whole shebang started, the one of the organizers was like, "Would you be interested in hosting?" And I'm like, So I hemmed and hawed, and finally, about 20 minutes before uh, second segment was going to start, I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And so I actually got to host 3 hours of the protest, which was, uh, from a hosting standpoint, was quite interesting because when I did it on the fly, I really was not prepared
Yep.
to host 3 hours to guide a conversation. And most people know that I can very easily go off on a tangent. But it
No,
was
never.
No,
no.
not Beth. No.
No. So it was interesting from that aspect because I really struggled to stay directly on point, but we did. I think we did pretty good, and the whole gist of the idea was to highlight the damage that what we call hereditary religion, basically, depending on where you are born, determines what
Yes.
religion you are. So those here over in the States will most likely be Christian, and not by choice. Those that live in the Middle East most likely will be Muslim. Those in India would be Hindu, etc., etc.
Yes.
And falls neatly into one of my interests, which is tracking the abuses by the church as a whole, not just Catholicism, but when I say church, everything,
Yeah.
Islam, Hindu, whatever. So it kind of really fell in line with one of my interests, and part of that is tracking these horrendous abuses where the kids are dying because of faith healing. Michaela
Yes.
Salt being one of the most recent cases, the Shivels, and there was a case just in Oregon not too long ago, and right now in Idaho, a friend of mine, Linda Martin, is in the process of petitioning the legislature there on Capitol Hill to get rid of their religious exemption law.
Oh
Oregon, I
boy.
think it was last year or the year before, Oregon did get rid of theirs. Idaho is one of 3 states, I believe, that still has one. So basically, what we're trying to do as a group is bring, is highlight the stupidity. I mean, we just had a story that hit the news not even a week ago, where some kid was like, "Oh my God, I committed blasphemy," and slices off his own arm.
What? Oh,
I mean,
good grief.
he was Islamic, and you know more about the blasphemy laws than I do. So it's highlight these things, and what can we as individuals, what can we as a group, uh, besides trying to herd ourselves together into a cohesive group, what can we do to stop this bullshit? And basically, it
Absolutely.
came down to, I think a majority of us basically agree, education. And
Yes.
for us here, specifically in the States, in my opinion, I mean, my gist is we have to eliminate, this bullshit with creationism infiltrating into the school system, because that and the elimination of teaching of critical thinking skills. So basically, I think we're all in agreement that education is really the starting point. And I think for every country, it's a little bit different. There
Yeah.
was one woman on, she was from the Philippines, and she was explaining how a group that she's involved with, and I can't remember her name or the name of the group off the top of my head, uh, but she has a book program where she takes donated books and donates them to, uh, I'm going to say primary, I don't know if she does it primarily to schools, but to youth,
Okay.
in an effort to combat the bat shittery. And
Yeah.
so and there are other projects. I do know there's a reading project, a book project for specifically geared towards the prison system. Although that's not youth, not kids, but even still, you impact the education level of the people around. I mean, we still have over 50% of people that think that the sun revolves around the earth. Flat Earthism. My
Yeah.
timeline on Facebook the last week, probably 30, 40, 50 stories about, for
I,
some odd reason, Flat Earthism is making a comeback, so to
ugh.
speak. So,
Well,
it's
there was
combating.
something came by my news feed today about some rapper who believes the Earth is flat, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
Bob, B-O-B. Yeah, he, in fact, I think I just had that one up.
and
That
last week people were talking about some porn star who was going on about flat Earth on her Twitter, and I'm just like, okay, honey, like I know, you know, there's a reputation. What's that?
We know you lay flat on your back.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gaze at the sky a lot, but and there's a reputation that porn stars aren't that bright, and I happen to know that most of them are smart, so stop giving the rest of them a bad reputation.
Right.
yeah.
I agree. Here, here.
It's like
Well, and it's
Twyla or
funny.
somebody. Go ahead.
Yeah. What's funny about it is that after my segment last week on the show, it was, I don't know if it was that night or probably sometime between then and Tuesday, I'd gotten a message on to Facebook about, and basically I'm just gonna, I wrote up a little post about it, but I said, so the other day I received a question, comment, criticism, I don't know what it was supposed to be, that went something like this: why, when even you yourself say there are excellent resources already out there, are you bothering with this, whatever you want to call it? Now, I'm assuming that this, whatever you want to call it, is referencing my little segment I interject in beyond, beyond the trailer park.
Yep.
And it's just like, so I basically said, well, for me, my blog, I know he's not returning to my blog. My blog's been out there 5 years in its current form, and it actually goes back to 2000 was when I started blogging, although my emphasis then was my bipolar. And I said the simple answer is I have fun doing what I do. I have fun doing the show. I have fun doing the segments. Yes, I quote complain about pulling my hair out at times and ending up down gopher holes and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I have fun doing it. I'm an information junkie. Anybody that knows me, I have over 500 different news feeds plugging through, and I have redundant systems. I have them set up on 3 different platforms.
It's what your enjoyment through the day.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm not a social butterfly. I do not like leaving my house, even more so since I've had the stroke. But this is what I do for fun. I don't have TV, one, I can't afford it, but 2, I really don't like it anymore.
Right.
There's nothing there. Why pay $90 to watch 2 stations? That's what it boiled down to. So, but for me too, it goes back to, and this is, the indoctrination I went through as a child. Getting out of that took 10 years for me. And it was a very solitary process. For me, it's like my internet when my quote deconversion started was bulletin boards and news groups. Yeah. I didn't have what we have today. So kids of today, youth of today, young adults of today have something that I never even imagined having. So I'm still like a kid in a fucking candy store.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
when I find something new or new to me, I like sharing it, because if one person, and if only one person, comes to reason by what I share, by what we share as, collectively on the show, I'm all for it. If you don't like it, don't listen. If you don't want to read it, don't read it. I don't care. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me.
People don't get that when you and I figured out, truth and that there's no God and all of that, we had to do it on our own brain power. Like, there was no internet, there was no, groups that we could look up or any of that shit. Mm-hmm. It was, hey, I kind of think this might be the way it is, and then just go from there. And I sometimes think, like, I was sort of living in my oblivious little bubble for so many years. If I had something like the internet 25 years ago, what kind of things I could have done if I had known that there were nut jobs around that say, things like
kill the gays?
Yeah, kill the gays. Or, like, I still remember the first time that fundy guy said that giving young people birth control was telling them to go have sex. I was floored. I was just like, what? Huh? and the whole intelligent design crap and all of that, I was oblivious for 17 years. So I wished we'd had that. But
the first thing I heard when I got put on birth control, my grandparents told my mother, like, you're giving her the okay to have sex.
Yeah.
Nope. Sure isn't.
and the sad thing is, like, for me is, yeah, I have a lot of book knowledge, I have a lot of head knowledge, but I never have had the opportunity, if that's the right word, to use it. Yeah. I never really had the interest to use it until about 4 years ago, listening to our namesake, Cash.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
he had a young gentleman come on who was from Texas. He was of color, and he was
Yeah.
gay.
Yeah.
Okay, in Texas. Okay, in Texas
That's
too.
crazy.
And this poor guy was literally in fear for his life. He didn't know
Yeah.
who to reach out to, and I finally, if it was actually finally the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Now I had already been blogging, and in fact, I was actually considering packing it in, just saying, you know
Yeah.
what, I'm not doing any good.
Yeah.
And I was like, after hearing that, it was just like I kept hearing stories like that over and over and over, and I'm like, this has got to stop, you know. And if by my posting about these stories and putting them on Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and whatever, if one person is influenced by that, then I've done what I set out to do. It's the
Absolutely.
same premise I had with when I started my blog, when I was going through my bipolar, learning how to deal with that, learning what worked, what didn't work, how I dealt with going through the system, dealing with the mental health system on top of dealing with welfare, all this other stuff, you know, books I read that I thought were helpful, you know, if doing that same thing with my atheism, and I say my atheism because my atheism and Deb's atheism and Ashley's atheism is different. We
Right.
all have different, for lack of a better word, agendas. We're probably pretty close to what we want to accomplish, but we all do it different ways.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why having something like the protest that we did for hereditary religion, you know, there were different people with different ideas, not only different ideas, but they were from different cultures. Um, I had a gentleman, he came on, he was originally from Pakistan, and he's now living in Colorado, and
Yep.
he was a gentleman who was actually, and I'm probably going to slaughter this, so Danielle, if you're listening, I apologize. Um, he was basically, from my understanding, would be what we would call seminary here in the States. He was basically
Okay.
studying to be a imam. This guy was not stupid. This was somebody who was learning this stuff from a scholarly perspective, but yet he's now an atheist.
Yep.
So
Best
you
cure.
get all. Hmm?
I was gonna say best cure for religiosity. Try to be more religious and read your text.
And that, if I understood his story correctly, that is basically what he did. It's just like we jokingly say the best way to become an atheist, read the Bible.
Yep. Or the
You know,
Quran.
yeah, or the crime. And that's what I find so interesting, like with these various types of forums. Like, well, you and I and Ashley did the David Smalley's uh, fundraiser. I
Yes.
mean, I think each one of these has a benefit to it.
Right.
Might not always be the right tool for us, but any little bit we do, you know, that we do does help.
Yep. That's right.
So, and it's kind of, in a sense, kind of reinvigorated, because I mean, you all know, you've been following my ordeal of dealing with the stroke, so it's kind of like giving me like something to push towards. So
Good. No, but that's
it's
good.
good.
It gives you something to feel excited about and feel like you're helping and accomplishing something.
Yeah, it's just like right now, and I'm gonna plug Linda for a minute. She's
Yeah.
as I say, she's currently in Capitol Hill in Idaho doing trying to get the law changed there to end the religious exemption for faith healing. She was actually part of a cult church,
Mhm.
and the name of it is just slipped my mind, but she got out, and she's pretty much, since she's been out, she's been fighting to get this law changed. So keeping
That's
our fingers crossed. She actually almost had a sponsor, and it somehow got mucked up, and so she's working to get
oh,
another sponsor for this bill that she's trying to get through. So, and in fact, I just did post a blog, if you guys want to, you know, blog post about it. I haven't been following it as closely as I should have. I met her about a half a year ago, and it was right around the time I had the stroke, so it kind of, and she will eventually be a guest on our show. It's just right now timing's not good, but so.
No,
And
that's excellent.
I'm going to push for another guest we're going to have on shortly. If you have not gone out and gotten Chris Rada's new book, Liars for Jesus 2, do so. She has agreed to be a guest on our show in February, so I'm really excited about that.
Yay! Awesomeness. Yeah, February is shaping up to be a good month, I think. We've already got 3 out of I think there's only 4 slots Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 of them are already taken up, so this is good. We like this. Excellent. So yeah, it sounds like you had a really productive time, and even though it was unanticipated, you had a good opportunity there. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not a leader. I'm more of a follower, but it was kind of interesting because it's kind of given me some ideas for. Oh, my alarm's going off, and I don't know where my phone is. Oh well. So if you hear chirping, it's my phone. I'm trying to locate it.
Did you hear that, Ashley? She said she's not a leader.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
No, I'm not a leader. I'm a lurker and a follower.
No, you used to be a lurker and a follower. I'm just saying.
Thanks a lot, Deb. You can blame this woman right here with the red hair.
Moi? Uh-oh, I just knocked my grumpy cat on the floor again. Damn it. Poor Grumpy. She's kissing the carpet. Oh well. But yes,
I'm gonna go find my alarm clock. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, and as you know, it turns out Miss Ashley's not exactly a follower no more, are you?
No.
Nope. Hey, you got 2 shows happening, you know. That's more than most people do.
That's right. And I'm actually able to chill back and relax, and work's got me stressing out, but hey, it's work.
That's all right. And I was just gonna say that's another big ass cup of sweet tea there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I should have brought our Leaning Tower of Pisa in here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's actually only about a medium-sized cup, isn't it?
Yeah, I was about to say, you remember our big 44-ounce cups that.
Oh yeah, which was actually too big for me to put in the carry-on and take home. Yes.
So we have that, and I have like the Leaning Tower of Pisa with them right now because it's been too cold to like out the trash can.
Makes sense.
And plus, we've been out of town, so I walked, and Bobby had it stacked up almost to the ceiling.
Awesome. So yeah, I met some cool people on the weekend in Toronto again, and there were some people that I met at the non-conference that I got to see again, and it looks like we might have some motorcycle friends to go to Reason Rally with now, so that's kind of exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. And it looks like we might be making a side trip to visit my religious ex-mother-in-law, so that'll be interesting.
Yay, you!
Well, they know all about my atheist proclivities, so we have a deal. I don't talk about yours, and you don't talk about mine, and we're all good. So. Because my sister-in-law actually found my heathen Facebook a couple of weeks ago and sent me a friend request, and I was like, so yeah, you can friend this if you want, but you might want to read it first because this is the heathen profile. She's like, oh, thanks for the warning. So she never came back to say that she wanted me to accept the request, so I'm thinking she didn't like what she saw, but yeah. Well,
I was gonna say, remember the situation I was telling you about earlier about whether this person would bolt or not?
She didn't. Wow, I'm impressed.
Yes,
Very
so
cool.
score 1 for reasonable thinking.
Speaking of reasonable thinking, well, no, actually, there's not really much reasonable thinking,
I
but
was gonna say,
I was about to say
yeah.
presidential.
about
So I got a good shirt for this. I don't know if anybody can see this, but it actually says it's a smile from Transylvania because, well, we all know politicians are bloodsuckers, so it's
Or in
my
Sarah Palin's case, money suckers.
that too. But I've got my vampire bloody smile shirt on, and I actually did acquire said shirt in Transylvania, so it's legit.
awesome.
All right, ladies. So, do we start with the super crazies or the normal crazy politicians?
Well, before we get into it, what brought this topic about, and Deb was telling me that Ashley was interested in doing something about
Yes.
politics and about the run up to,
There we go.
to the yeah, it's my take my drugs alarm. Run up to the upcoming primaries, and of course, which lead into the general elections in November. And it's just I was talking to Ashley about it, and she actually said that she's actually really excited about this, as far as being able
Yeah.
to vote and stuff. And I think it's kind of interesting because with her newfound atheism
Yes.
and
Skepticism.
okay, yeah, we'll say skepticism. Would you say that that's influencing your, we'll say, excitement, for lack of a better word? Do you think that's part of it, or is it all intermingled that you can't sort it out, or?
It is a little intermingled, but I am excited because normally if I would listen to these, I would be honest with you, I just wouldn't listen to them. I didn't start paying attention really until like the last month of the election. You know,
I don't blame you. Like, as I've said before, our election cycle's usually 30 days.
Yeah.
Last year we did 70 and everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, why do we need 70 days, people? Like, enough already.
Right.
So, now that I am sick of it already, and there's still, what, like 10 months to go?
Yeah, I mean, really, 10 months to go. How many debates do we need to have in a month?
I know.
Yeah.
Like
And the thing,
somebody could get knocked up right now and still have the kid before the frickin' election.
Yeah.
what, what makes it so crazy is if you can compare the two parties, and they're both doing this, so it's not just one side or the other per se, but the Republicans have not talked any policy other than let's bomb the Middle East. Democrats have been a little bit better, but still no policy as to how to deal with shit, like in our own fucking country. Like the fact that people still don't have insurance, the fact that people are still poor. There's no substance to them whatsoever.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's cool though that you're getting interested though, Ashley. So, and you said you never really paid attention to any presidential race really before, right?
I didn't. I didn't listen to the debates. I didn't listen. I knew there was caucuses. I didn't watch them either. Um, I knew that there was a big debate between, who was actually running between the Republican and the Democrat. There's one of those debates. There's primaries. I knew all that. I just really didn't care about any of it.
Yeah.
Because here's my thought. Here was my thing. I was put in the mindset of, what did it matter if I voted? I mean, I could vote. Everybody could vote one way, but if the Electoral College, who's supposed to vote according to how we vote, but can still decide they want to vote for somebody else.
Yes.
So
I don't believe that's ever actually really happened. At least not that I know of in my lifetime.
Well, wasn't it in
in Florida.
2000, yeah, wasn't it like Bob Dole was supposed to win or something?
Yeah, there's been, well, a lot of that comes down to, I think, if I remember correctly, was the actual vote count.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up again, but I don't think that we've actually, at least since I've been voting, I don't think we've had an issue where the voting public was overrode by the Electoral College. Now, I could be wrong,
Okay.
and
Well,
if I am, someone please.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it has. The thing that bothered me was that it could happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think my personal, I mean, this is going back a few years with the, yeah, I think it was Obama's election, if I remember correctly. My belief then, and I still kind of harbor this bit of a conspiracy mindset towards it, is that had President Obama not been elected when he was, that probably would have been the end of what we know of as our democracy or our democratic republic.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
I think it would have given the right the power that they need, that they so crave. So
Right.
I really think by electing somebody other than a Republican, it didn't necessarily have to be President Obama, but I
Right.
think in some ways that was kind of, I think, a wake up call. I know it sounds kind of conspiratorial, and I still hold on to it. I still hem and haw, but because I look at what the Reich's doing and still doing and trying to do, and the fact that fucking Sarah Palin has not gone away.
Oh, we'll get back to that bitch. Don't you worry. Katie says she thinks it was Bush that would have lost by the popular vote, and that's Shrub Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And now, I mean, so I'm looking at it. I'm actually listening to it. I'm actually watching the debates, and yeah, I get bored with it. Some of them,
well, I always know when you're watching the debate because I get messaged like, I need to throw something at the goddamn TV. I swear, I'm gonna have to mail you. We have a foam brick. It's red and it looks like a regular red brick, but it's made of like, foam. Right. And it is for exactly that purpose. And I'm like, I'm going to have to send Ashley my brick for the rest of the election cycle.
Because I can't keep throwing stuff at Bobby.
Throwing at Bobby's
TV.
Yeah. Well, you could throw the brick at Bobby too, I suppose, but...
And it won't hurt him.
Yeah. You know what you need to do? You need to go and invest in like a Nerf gun of some description.
Yeah, he tells me tonight. Now, granted, I think it's the Democratic town hall that's tonight.
Okay.
I think
what the fuck is that?
I don't know, but as soon as Bobby told me that it was coming on, he's like, "Oh, the Democratic town hall's coming on tonight." I'm like, "Oh, I got a show to do."
Isn't that great? I have a show.
He says, "Well, I can record it." I was like, "Nah, it's okay. You don't have to."
Well, and it's like, I've been bad for not paying attention to Canadian politics a lot either, and so this year I got involved enough that I actually worked a polling station during the election, but I actually paid it, and I watched 2 of the debates. And there was actually 3, I think. But I after the first 2, I couldn't be bothered with the third because the entire time I sat there going, "That's a logical fallacy. That's a logical fallacy. What? Logical fallacy? Who the hell taught you people to debate? Like, no."
Yeah, exactly.
And, yeah.
Well, see, we've had 3 Republican debates already. Probably more than.
Geez.
I think we've had 5.
Yeah. See.
Fuck. What the hell do they have to debate now? Like,
and that's not even including the junior debates.
Right.
That they do.
What?
And they have because there's like 16, 17. I think it's up to 18. Although a few have dropped out since candidates just on the Republican ticket. So
Yes,
they
I knew
broke
there
it
was
up.
I knew there was a
They,
shit ton of loonies. Yes.
yeah, they broke it up where the top 10 were on the primary side. Everybody under
Okay.
that, they had a secondary debate, usually before the major one. Rand Paul's been stuck down in there. Rick Santorum. I think Carly Fiorina actually was initially in the second tier, and then she got bumped up. So Chris Christie's in that group, but
Okay.
primarily everybody's been focused on Cruz, at the time Huckabee, Trump. So they've actually had twice the amount of debates than what people are probably even aware of. And I want to say 5, but I could be wrong. It might be 4. But but there's been no substance to it. I mean, I haven't caught them live because I work second shift, so I usually catch bits and pieces, and if something pertinent, I would go listen to that segment after the fact. But it's just like, it's either they're bitching about the debate format, they're bitching about the questions being too hard, they're bitching about Trump, Trump, Trump. It's like, what are your plans? I mean, it wasn't debate related, but it was an interview. Somebody had asked, I forgot who it was now. Rand Paul about their replacement. Was it Rand Paul? No, Paul Ryan. Excuse me. About
Okay.
their replacement for Obamacare, since the Senate was able to vote through a quote repeal, of course, which President Obama is going vetoed or will veto. And they're like, well, what's your replacement plan? Well, we have one.
Okay.
We have one, but we're not going to tell you what it is.
No, we have
and
one.
they've been saying,
Placed it.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we have one. Well, what is it? They
It's
don't
a
have.
secret.
They don't seem to have any solid policy other than to get Obama out of office, repeal Obamacare, and Benghazi. Oh, now Planned Parenthood, which I do have a news story on Planned Parenthood.
Oh, I saw that. That was that
Yeah,
that made me happy.
But I think what caught me with talking with Ashley, and I'm gonna read verbatim what you wrote. We were talking the other morning when you were shocked to actually be talking to both Deb and I in the
Yes,
morning.
I know. Well, I was sitting in my
all three
car.
of us.
I was sitting in my
Yes.
car waiting for the restaurant to open. What's
Yeah.
that, Ashley?
But,
I was like, it's Sunday morning, and I'm talking to both of y'all?
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't. If Greg ever watches this, yeah, we're always late when you drive. When I drove myself, I was 45 minutes early. What the fuck is up with that, Mr. Truck Driver?
Oh, he's a truck driver.
Yes, Mr. Greg is a truck driver. He's my good buddy at the Grand River Atheists, and we usually carpool to Toronto. And but he had to drive yesterday, so I drove my little old self, and I was 45 minutes early.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Mr. Greg, please be safe out there if you're listening.
Yeah, he will
definitely.
be. I'm not sure where he's at. He's driving for a new company, so I'm not sure if he's down in the States or up here somewhere. But
Who knows?
But this is what Ashley had said. She goes, I have never been this intrigued in a presidential election. I'm nervous and I want to know now who the candidates are going to be this year. The Republicans are pissing me off. I really don't think anybody on the Republican side is taking the election seriously. And I do agree with you there. It's if I could be president, I'll have the title. Bernie, to me, seems like the only candidate interested in the American people. And then she goes on, the Republicans are all about what can we do for the rich. Fuck the rich. They have money. They don't need help. Us common folk need the fucking money and keep the religion out of my fucking government. And she goes, sorry, I went off on a tangent. And if that's a tangent, we gotta work on your tangents. But
Yeah,
I think
that's a mini explosion. You haven't quite worked up to tangent level yet.
But I think
sorry, I had a mini.
Sorry, what was that, Ashley?
I said, okay, it was a mini explosion. Y'all let me know when I come to a tangent.
We will, no problem.
But that's true. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, think about it. The rich already have money. What else do they need?
Yep.
Look,
Exactly.
I worked the on Monday. I mean, on Saturday with Human. Okay, and he took me through Buckhead, Atlanta, which is a very expensive part of Atlanta.
Yes.
And there's these houses there that I could probably put, I don't know, maybe 20 apartments in.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I could fill up one of those if given the opportunity. I'm just saying. Hey man, could you imagine, you know what, we should like get one of those and have like, this is the No Religion Required studio, and this is the Beyond the Trailer Park studio, and this is like this show here studio, and still have like, you know, a bunch of rooms left over for other shit.
Yeah, we call it Heretic Woman Studios.
Woohoo! I like that.
Or Heretic Studios. There you go.
Heretic Studios. I'm good with that.
But yeah, it pisses me off because, you know, it's a good example. Beth, look at the Medicare the medical care that she's getting, or the lack of medical care she's getting is a better word for it. Bobby goes to the VA. He gets a bill in the mail for the VA, and I'm like, what?
What?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm like, what do you mean you got a bill from the VA? He's like, well, it's for my prescriptions. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
Yeah, people are stupid with like in here, even though we have quote free health care, which really it isn't because we pay through our taxes, but you know, we don't have to pay anything out of pocket when we're sick. But no medications are covered here unless you are in the hospital when you get them.
Really?
So if you're in the hospital and you get drugs, it's covered. The minute I step out and they say, well, you need to take this medication, it's not covered at all, unless you're in welfare. So where your companies try to have medical insurance, like general medical insurance, our companies are almost, they might have some extras, but they almost exclusively have drug plans. So, like, if I wasn't covered under hubby's drug plan that covers 80%, like one of the medications I take is like $200 a pop. Like, it's an injectable thing, right? But it's, you know, I still have to pay $40 for that, which to me is a lot, but
no,
whatever.
Because I can go to a store around here, and the most I pay for prescriptions is $10.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that has been has come into the fore is like Walgreens, I know, does it, Walmart does it, Rite Aid does it as well. In fact, that's what saved my ass when I first had my stroke. I didn't have insurance. I could get the scripts that I needed for $10. Now, granted, they had to be generic. I have no issue with generic, although there are some drugs that I cannot take the generic. So there have been programs put into place, but my problem, and a lot of other people have this problem, and this is one of the issues that I ran into with the ER doctor, is he basically said I was a non-compliant patient because I had an excuse for everything. And the problem being is, even though I was prescribed medication for my diabetes, I mean, I've been diabetic, I've known for 8 years now, but with $10 for me, I couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
Even because my income is barely above minimum. So even for me, $10 a month, or well, it would be been about 20 or 30, depending on if I was on 2 or 3. I couldn't afford that. $30 for me is a week and a half worth of food. Now, granted, I do get food stamps, but my food stamps, because of where I live, do not last the whole month.
Right.
Yes, because you're forced to go to places that cost more.
Yeah, we have one grocery store in town who, as soon as the closest out-of-town store closed, jacked their prices up 33% after already jacking them up 15% when the other grocery store in town closed. So what used to cost me 99 cents now costs me $1.67. So so my food stamps would not last that long, and I'm very frugal. My freezer is full of leftovers. I don't throw anything out. I know how to, I can live off of rice and beans and doctor it up and have a gourmet meal. That's just how I was trained. So for me, I'm very good with, as far as my food stamp money, it goes for food. That's it. Very rare do I even buy my soda on my food stamps. I only do that towards the end of the month if I have anything left over. But usually then I take that and buy back stock so I have quote emergency food in case of a power outage or whatever. But here this doctor was telling me that I didn't know how the system worked. I'm like, darling, I've been in the system for 20 plus years off and on, not consistently, although I have been in the last 7. If my caseworker in the welfare office tells me that I don't qualify, guess what, darling? I don't qualify.
Yeah.
Don't tell me I'm not doing enough. I mean, when, like I have a student loan. It's over 80K going back to the 1980s, by the way. I'm on a 0 payment plan because I don't even make enough to qualify for the repayment plan.
Wow. When Katie was just
like,
Katie was just saying she takes a drug that costs $10,000 a month.
Oh, ouch! I thought my 2,000 was bad.
Yeah, she wins. I don't think I want that prize, but
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it's just like, in fact, a mutual friend of ours posted a comment concerning a surgery she needs to have, and no doctor will take her insurance. And someone had posted, well, that can't be possible. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Doctors or healthcare facilities or, medical providers are not required to take insurance. So if a doctor says we don't take your insurance or we don't take any insurance, guess what? You're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
It's just like I posted earlier today. Here, I thought my medical bills concerning my eye were taken care of, and they were just being buck slow getting my surgery scheduled. So I finally decided to call them, and here, after telling them twice they needed to submit it to Medicare or Medicaid, not my insurance company. Oh, it's not paid. And I'm like, I said, and you were going to inform me of this when? I have not received any billing from you in November. But imagine somebody worse off than me, who, physically I'm much slower than I was. Cognitively, a little bit. I have trouble with words, no biggie. Imagine somebody worse off than me, trying to deal with this bullshit.
Yeah.
Our health insurance industry, and then take what I've gone through, what anybody in my situation has gone through, and then compare it to whining crybaby Ted Cruz. Oh, I don't have insurance because of Obama. No, you don't have insurance because you tried to play the system and you fucked up and forgot that you don't have insurance.
So Cruz doesn't have insurance now?
No, at this present time, or at the time this article was published, which was like 2 days ago, his insurance was canceled because his policy was bumped up to a better policy. Uh, I'm going to get the details all screwed up, but basically he has no insurance, and he's trying to blame it on Obamacare, when no, he had minimum, I'm going to say, 60 to 90 days to get insurance. See, his wife left Goldman Sachs. She took a leave of absence because of her campaigning, so that's whose insurance he was on. But,
Right.
so he denied his congressional insurance. He could have gotten, I think, a 70% reduced rate being a congressman. But he denied that and got on hers. Well, now he has none because that policy ended.
Right.
And he's trying to blame frickin' Obamacare. It's like, no, you dumbass. It's because you didn't do your due diligence and do what you're supposed to do and make sure your insurance is taken care of. So and this is what kills me about, if you look at, when we look at all the candidates specifically on the Republican side, I don't think any of them are even remotely capable of telling the truth of anything.
No.
Now, I'm not saying that Bernie or Hillary haven't, told the truth, but maybe it's my news feeds, but I have yet to see a story of something legitimate, and Benghazi is not legitimate. It's already been cleared, where they're outright lying and make no qualms about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean the crazy coming out of some of these people is just astounding, and we don't even have to go as far as Trump for that. I mean, look at Carson. I love the pyramid memes, Beth's coughing her head off over there, but yeah, the Carson with saying that, well, the pyramids weren't tombs, they stored grain in there. I'm like, they're fucking solid inside, you dumbass. Like, come on. Like, have you looked at the plans? They've got little tiny tunnels and just one little room for coffin, and yeah, they're not going to store their fucking grain in that. I'm sorry. And that guy's a doctor. That's the scary thing to me. I'm like, what? I wouldn't even walk in your fucking practice if that's what you're like. Because, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And have you heard that guy? He sounds like he's half asleep all the time.
Yeah, I know. It's, see, I can't hear him, though.
Yeah?
It'll drive me crazy. I
gotcha.
and I hate to say it, but when I'm leaning. I mean, I'm on the Democrat side, but to be honest, I'm tired of hearing them too.
Oh yeah, I've said it before, and I don't want to be rude about it, but I'm really fucking sick of Bernie Sanders blowing up my news feed. Really, really, really sick of Bernie Sanders.
He's adorable. He is adorable. Don't get me wrong. He's an adorable man.
I am sure he is a great senator. I am sure he would make a great president. I would be very happy if I didn't ever see his face again, at least until after November. If he wins, great. I'm good with that, but I really don't want to see his face anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think about it. If it's blowing up this bad right now,
yes.
Wait until all it's gonna do is get worse.
Yeah.
Well, what kills me is somebody had asked me today in PM who I was going to vote for, and I said, well, I can guarantee you it is not going to be anybody on the GOTP ticket. I said, I haven't really decided, and they're like, oh, you're not voting for Bernie? I'm like, not at this moment, no. And I'm like, I really honestly haven't decided, and they're like, how can you not be voting for Bernie? I mean, they weren't being rude or anything. And I'm like, because I'm not decided? It's like, I usually don't decide until the second I walk up into the voting booth, unless it's something so blatantly obvious.
And that's the way I was. Like, I knew, I didn't want to vote conservative because
Mhm.
who the fuck wanted, another 4-ish years of Harper? 12 was enough, thank you very much. But, right up until I did it, I was still I wasn't sure if I was going to go liberal or NDP. And see, here, we don't really ever vote for the leader. You vote for either kind of your local candidate or the party. That's usually the toss up. Now, if your local candidate that you like and the party that you like mesh, then you're golden. Some people will be more apt to vote for the local candidate that they prefer over a party just because they think the local candidate's going to have more of effect or whatnot. But yeah, it's I didn't make up my mind right away. So that's why I don't understand all these people who are just rabid for Bernie, and you have 10 fucking months to go. Like, I see shit
Mhm.
on my wall. It's like, here's how to like manipulate the Facebook system to do this, and here's how to go to this rally, and here's how to go to that rally, and here, make sure that you've got this shirt and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, already? Like, did you think about this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
I
like
mean,
what?
I'm.
Hmm.
It's like I'm pretty sure all three of us, and I mean, Deb, I know you can't vote in our elections. We're pretty much all not going to vote for anybody on the Republican side, and that's probably all we really know.
Yeah. Well, they're all fucking crazy over there. Like,
Mhm.
well,
Yeah.
you had to step away, but we were talking about how crazy Carson is, and he's a fucking doctor, and he sounds like he's asleep 90% of the time. Like, you gotta have a little bit of charisma. We had, 3 or 4 years ago now, was the leader of the Liberal Party, was a fellow by the name of Gilles Duceppe, and he was like a wet noodle. Like, he's a brilliant strategician, but to hear the man talk, I was just like, just no. And now he's in the current cabinet, but there was no way in hell that he would have ever made prime minister because people would take one look at him and like, yeah, okay, I'm not voting for that party.
Well, being one that does like like when I do the segments, I'll sit there and I will listen to my own, what I'm saying and
Yep.
how I present it and stuff. And I harp on this all the time because I don't like the sound of my voice. Now,
Yes.
for some reason, when I do our show live, I don't seem to struggle as much as when I do my pre-records, and I think part of it is probably I'm more awake now than when I try to do my recording. And
Well,
it's just like
you've got us to distract you too.
well, I think that helps too, and it's just like, but it's funny because I do rewatch, not all, but some of the stuff, and it's just like I can always tell when it's a topic just by watching the video, when it's a topic I'm really into because like yes, I talk with my hands, I know I do, and stuff like that, or when it's more like I won't say drudgery because that's really a horrible word, but when I'm struggling to get through like the topic or something, or I'm
Hmm.
woefully prepared, I can tell what episodes just by looking at the video which ones they are because I'm like, yeah, I'm not very animated there, and it's like, oh God, that's Ben Carson. Like,
Well,
uh,
Katie says, I really think something happened to Carson. His brain is not hitting on all cylinders.
And he's a neurosurgeon. That's what's sad.
I know. Like I said before, I would not want to walk into his practice. I really
well,
wouldn't.
here's the thing. Here's the thing that's kind of baffling as far as Carson goes to me, and see if you guys agree. Supposedly, he is a very, or was, he's no longer practicing, a very, very good
Yes.
neurosurgeon. He did one of the first Siamese twin separations that were connected at the head. He led the team that did that surgery back in the 90s. So
Yeah.
he's definitely got the smarts for that. But if you take the persona that we see, let's ignore the pyramid bullshit. Just his presentation, like
Yeah.
his apathy for. I mean, how can what? I mean, how can he even think that he would be? Maybe I'm
You've
being
got
really judgmental.
no,
How?
you've got to have a modicum of charisma to do that job. You just have to.
Yeah. Okay, and that's basically where I was going for. It just seems to be an oxymoron with him. It's just like, okay, he's probably a brilliant surgeon or was a brilliant surgeon, obviously, but yet he's such a dolt in everyday
Yeah.
life. And that's not including his bullshit conspiracy theories about the
Yeah.
pyramids, being grain silos, controlled by
Oh,
aliens,
yeah.
wearing tinfoil.
You wait. Next thing, Obama's gonna be a lizard man.
Oh, yeah, that's already out there. I
Oh, I
have a
know.
video on that
I'm just
somewhere.
saying. I'm just saying.
Oh, from him. Yeah.
Carson's gonna glom on to the lizard man deal now. Next, you wait.
I just
Uh,
well, it's like you got Carson with the pyramids. I have a list here. Trump, well, he's just all over the place. Um,
yeah.
Richard Trigg, who is a long shot, he signed on not about 3 months ago. He's basically wants to ban gays, and he's been arrested for stalking his ex-wife. You
Oh,
got
lovely.
Marco Rubio. He's the wild card, I think, in this race.
Right.
They better watch their ass because he's gaining ground. But he's still defending Mike Pence in Indiana for his basically right to discriminate. You got Bloomberg just came in as a third party candidate. He's just a nut for, well.
Well, he was the mayor of New York, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you got Palin endorsing Trump. That's the whole story.
Okay, that woman is a fucking train wreck. Like, unbelievable.
She's a grifter. Plain,
Yeah.
it's come to, yeah. We could go on just on her whole show. Then you
Well,
got Cruz, who's
yeah. You can keep him, by the way, please.
and then my favorite one, Carly Fiorina. How is this woman even a fucking Republican?
That's a good question.
Okay, let alone, I mean, none of these people have a clean slate. I mean, I'm
So
not saying
now,
Bernie or Hillary are perfect, but I have yet to read anything about, like, stupid stuff, believing, the grain pyramids are grain elevators, getting.
so what's
Wanting
Fiorina's
to kill everybody.
story? Because like I heard,
Basically, my biggest gripe is her bullshit with Planned Parenthood. She's still
right?
she
She glommed onto the baby parts bullshit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, and there was actually a ruling about that today, but
Yes.
it's like, okay, I'm not saying Hillary or Bernie or O'Malley are perfect, but if you look at, like, my news feeds, like, concerning them, is the usual Benghazi, Vince Foster, Whitewater, Whitewater, that stuff. Bernie, it's something from 1972. I can't remember off the top of my head, but nothing batshittery like pyramids, following debunked.
And I'm
Planned
sorry, if
Parenthood.
you've got to go back to 1972 to find dirt on somebody, that's pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like something with Trump, I know one of the biggest gripes that the general GOP has against Trump is that he basically flip flops and his views towards homosexuality, etc., etc. But it's just like, people's mindset can change. Now with Trump, I'm not saying this is the case. I think he just gloms on to wherever he can get get headlines
Yeah.
and money and whatever.
Yeah.
But who's to say? I mean, I will be the first to admit, 10 years ago, issues surrounding transgendered, I wanted nothing to do with it. Oh, that didn't affect me. Well,
Yeah.
my attitudes have changed. My attitudes towards learning about Islam have changed. So yeah, your viewpoints can change in a 4 to 6, 8, 10 year
Yeah.
period.
I've
So
never
yeah, no,
understood that complaint with politicians, because you hear it in every aspect that they do it here. It's like, oh, so and so changed their mind, that's bad. I'm like, no, if they got new information and they're saying, hey, evidence tells me I should have a different viewpoint, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Now, in Trump's case, it's hard to tell what's legitimate. Like, I'll use Bill Nye
Well,
as an example. I'll use Bill Nye as an example. He changed his mind in regards to GMO. He did it
right.
based on current research to change his mind. Now
Yes.
with Donald Trump, and he honestly did change his mind. In fact, he just put out another blurb about that, why he changed his mind. But
Yeah.
Donald Trump, it's kind of hard to tell what's his flip flops are legitimate or are they just for
I
votes
put
or
it this way, I wouldn't trust that man as far as I could throw his fucking toupee, which I'm assured is actually real.
Oh yeah.
well, or they'll glom onto President Obama changing his mind about gay marriage, and he point
Uh,
blank said, "Well, it was because of my daughters I did." So
yeah.
now I would take his change of mind or his flip flop, as they call it, as
Yeah.
being sincere,
Yes.
whereas Donald Trump's, I would have a little hesitation. I would have to look into it more. I wouldn't take it as face
Yeah.
value.
Now,
Uh,
one thing I've seen sort of floating by, and I have to admit I haven't like really looked at it, but I've seen a number of articles and memes where they're accusing Hillary of changing her views to
yes.
match Bernie because, oh, look, Bernie's popular. I better like change everything to match him. So I don't know if there's any legitimacy to that either. It's just what I've seen go by.
Off the top of my head, without looking into it like deeper, because I don't remember. I think she was. I won't go so far to say she's doing it just because of Bernie, but I
Hmm.
think there's a bit of political motivation in that flip flop. Do I think it's a legitimate change in stance? Yes. But do I think
Hmm.
it's as sincere as, let's say, how I take President Obama's change of heart? I think there's a little bit more political motivation in Hillary's, but knowing that Bernie Sanders has campaigned for this stuff
Yeah.
since before I could even vote,
Yeah.
I would take his stance a little bit more seriously. You know,
Exactly.
I think I never really even considered that with her. I mean, I have seen the memes, but it's just like, but I won't discount that she hasn't changed her mind
Yeah.
outside of politics. So
Yeah.
it's real. For me, I have to look at what have they done in the past, and
Yes.
some people I take a little bit more at face value, and some I don't. But
I laugh when some people I see, if especially right wingers, obviously, where they're like, "Oh, that Bernie Sanders is a socialist," blah blah blah, and I'm like, "You people would lose your shit if you saw what passed for a socialist here, man."
well, that's the funny thing, and this person I was talking to today asked me, who I was voting for, and they're like, "Oh, well, you come off as a liberal and progressive," and just so in case this person is listening, I'm not uh, trashing what you were saying to me. It really highlights it well. And I was like, "Well, no, actually, I'm not a list.
Say that again. You
I'm
kind
not
of
a list."
garbled there for a
I
second.
said, she goes, "This person thought I was a liberal progressive." I'm like,
Yeah.
no, actually, I'm a democratic socialist. Actually, I lean more towards socialism than I do democratic parts. And they were like,
Yeah.
oh.
Exactly.
I have I have liberal and progressive views, but I don't consider myself a liberal or progressive. Just like, with atheism. Oh, you must be a humanist. It's like, no, I'm not a humanist. I don't consider myself one. I might have humanist views.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
Ashley, what's your little mind thinking in all this?
Like I was saying earlier, I'm ready for it to get to the point to where we know who's going to run for president, because that's the point I'm at now. I don't really care what anybody else has to say. I've heard it all 5 times.
Yeah.
Well, bringing it back a little bit
And so
to.
I'm ready.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I'm ready to find out who's going to be running. You know, do I think it's going to be Bernie? I doubt it. I kind of think. I mean, I hope that he's not an internet candidate.
Now,
Like
what exactly do you mean by internet candidate, by the way? I hadn't heard that term before.
the best way that I can describe it is that he looks really, really good on the internet.
Okay. So, but like, if you were to read my news feed, you would think he was the only candidate on the planet.
Right, and that's what I mean by an internet candidate.
Okay. Yeah,
I
I think I've seen maybe 3 or 4 people that have like Hillary banners or whatnot, and like 50 million fucking Bernie profile pictures.
yeah, and if we were Republicans, we'd see 50 million probably Trump memes and Trump, vote for Trump,
That makes
Well,
sense.
what's my problem? I get them all.
Yeah. That's the danger and the price you pay for following the nut jobs, I'm afraid.
that's all your fault. That's all on you.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
You want to have your fun? Well, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny.
Well, when they ask for donations, just send them little tinfoil hats.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, I'm just
too many of those yet.
I'm ready to get down to the nitty gritty of it. All the presidents are saying that, we're gonna make Obamacare better, or we're gonna keep Obamacare. It's fine the way it is, or no, we're gonna replace Obamacare. We're gonna. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about taxes as much as they normally do.
Mm-hmm.
All been about war and Obama.
And my favorite one that I've seen recently is Obama is going to refuse to step down and he's going to keep being president. And I'm like, that's not fucking possible, people. Like,
Yeah.
he's got some magic up his sleeve that somehow he can overrule the Constitution and just keep being president.
Yeah, right. Overrule the Constitution, overrule Congress, overrule the military. Yeah, okay. Oh, he has his own private army.
What is it? There's only under certain circumstances that the president can go a third term or something like that. And it's got to be.
And that's all. It's like you have to serve less than 2 years of a prior term, I think.
That's weird. How would that work? Oh, like, so if he serves a full first term, and then somewhere in the second term, something gets fucked up and there's an election like super early?
No, usually it happens with if I remember correctly, and I might have this a little goofy, I think it happened with Lyndon B. Johnson when he took over part of JFK's term, and he served, I believe he served actually more than 2 years. It was like 2.5 years.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So
he ran for re-election.
Got elected, but he'd already served as president without being elected. Okay.
Yeah, it's something with that. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I think it was Lyndon B. Johnson. It might have been, or was it?
So theoretically, if like Bernie ran and became president and chose Obama to be his vice president and then dropped dead of a heart attack like 3 weeks later, then theoretically Obama could be president again.
Actually, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know how that, like, if he did, I don't know how that would work. I wonder if anybody's
That'd be weird.
contemplated that. Yeah, yeah. There's
That'd be
some things
weird.
I don't think people have even contemplated. And I don't even know if President Obama could serve as a vice president now after
I
being
just thought,
president.
like, what I was seeing was basically like, he's just gonna throw everything out and become like a dictator and take
Yeah,
over.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The general idea is that he's going to suspend the general election and become a tyrant slash king, and
Oh, yes.
yeah. But he actually addressed that issue in one of his pressers. I'll have to see if I can find that link.
Okay.
He joked because it had become an issue like maybe 3 months ago or so, and he actually addressed it, and he kind of really shot it down. I'll have to find it, but yeah, it's
Well,
just
and I laugh too. Like, everybody gets so wrapped up about, oh, it's only 2 terms, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, we don't have any term limits. Like, we had fucking Harper for 12 years, man. Like, yeah, don't talk to me about, oh no, 8 years. Like, yeah, oh, Chrétien. We had Chrétien for at least a decade, maybe 11 years too. So, and the other thing is, we had one prime minister, I think it was 6 weeks he was out. Now, he was
oh
not
yeah,
John Turner. He was not
yeah.
elected, though. What with ours, it's whoever is the leader of the party with the majority of seats in the House is who is prime minister. And so the party can decide to change that leader at any time, theoretically. So, like, Paul Martin is another example. Chrétien decided that he was done and he stepped down, and the party elected Paul Martin as the leader, who then became prime minister. The kicker, though, is if somebody gets in that way, there must be an election, like, as soon as possible, in order to either reaffirm that appointment or to have the people speak and say, no, we don't want that person. And to my knowledge, whenever that has happened, where a prime minister gets into office through a change in party leadership, I don't think any of them have ever been reaffirmed by the following election. Because our one and only female prime minister got in that way, and she was out inside a year, the same way.
Wow.
And now, from what I understand, she was a train wreck, but
It's interesting because I look at the different government structures, like primarily up in Canada, obviously because you're the closest. And
yeah.
it would be nice if we could just get one system where we could take the best of each.
Wouldn't it, though?
And it would be nice because I kind of agree with term limits, but then again, I kind of don't. And it's like,
Well, see, the beauty of our system is, while we have no term limit, at any time, the House of Commons can initiate a vote of non-confidence against the Prime Minister, and if he loses, he's out and there's an election. Now, he could get reelected if the party chooses to maintain him as leader, but he's toast. Like, that just has to happen.
right.
Oh, and I looked it up, and John Turner was prime minister from June 30th to September 17th of 1984. Oh, not very long.
I even remember.
So he
Last
was
actually.
minister for 11.
Say that again?
He was prime minister for less than a year.
Oh, from June 30th to like September 17th. So July, August,
Less than 3 months.
yeah, less than 3 months.
Wow.
And Kim Campbell was prime minister from June 25th to November 4th of 1993. So she lasted a couple of weeks longer.
Damn. No,
Yeah.
what's the vote on a president? They're in there for 4 years. You got to suck it up.
Yeah, no, not here. At any time you could have to call an election and risk getting booted. So that's the beauty of our system, that even if we don't have the term limits, it's like, oh, you did what? Oh, your ass is grass, buddy.
Yeah, I think in some ways that would be good here down in the States, but then I look at how popular is like the Tea Party. Is it just a minority being very loud, or do they have the numbers to actually cause an issue? And I'm not talking uh, because of voter apathy. Do they actually have the numbers? You factor
Right.
in voter apathy, then any minority party could have the clout to pull off what they've done. So it would make it really interesting. But I think our biggest thing here, like me personally, is I would really like to see third party and independent candidates have more of a chance. I
Yeah.
mean, Jill Stein. What do you guys know about Jill Stein? Do you even know who Jill Stein is?
Never heard of her.
She's a third party candidate for the Green Party.
Okay.
And she actually has some, from what little I've read, I'm getting caught up on third party candidates. She actually has some, good ideas, but I know when she ran in 2012, she wasn't even invited to any of the debates. The third party
Oh,
candidates actually had to have their own set of debates to even be heard. I'm sorry, but these people
yeah.
need to be on the same platform as the Democratic candidate and the Republican candidate. You know, the independent candidates, like Bernie
Yeah.
Sanders is really kind of an independent. He's not really, although he votes Democratic majority of the time, but he cannot legitimately run as an independent. Lieberman had the same problem 8 years ago. He couldn't run as he had to. So you have candidates that are actually independents. They're not Democratic. They're not Republican, but they have to declare one or the other in order to even be considered in the general election. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
bullshit.
I
I think
couldn't
that's bullshit.
I couldn't imagine only having two choices. Like even now, like with ours, the Greens have become like your third party candidate. They have a member of parliament, and she was reelected, and she was a candidate for prime minister. They invited her to the first debate, and then they did not invite her to the subsequent two debates, which I find highly ironic because the consensus was that she kicked all the rest of their asses in the first debate. And I would agree with that because she was the only one that wasn't throwing around a bunch of logical fallacies the entire time. So, but they never invited her back, which to me I think was because she showed them up and they kind of went, ew, well, she's a green, so, no chance of getting elected, so we're just not going to have that.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I just
she herself was elected, but there is no chance that the Green Party would get a majority. In fact, that still was the only seat they got.
Yeah, see, now I don't even know if any of these minor thirds even have representation in Congress or Senate, and this is more lack of knowledge. So if anybody knows for sure, mostly we hear Democrat, Republican, or Independent. I can't think of any candidate, third party candidate that's actually in Congress or in Senate. I'm talking at the national level. Now at the state level, it's probably different. But like even here in Pennsylvania, I think there's one third party individual that,
Right.
is in office in some capacity. I don't
So
remember what.
what kinds of third parties do you have then?
We have
Greens.
we have the Green Party. There's the Socialist Party. There's a Communist Party. I mean, we still have the Communist Workers Party. I used to be a member of that many years ago, and
Yeah.
then David Duke got involved from KKK. So I was like, see you, bye.
Yeah.
I think he's running for president again this year too. Um, there's the Constitutionalist Party. There's pretty much like what you guys have up there. I just can't think of their names off the top of my head.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean,
What, no natural law party?
Oh, that would probably be the Bundys.
Okay, the Bundys, but I can't see them trying to do flying yogic stuff.
Okay, that might have been a poor analogy. Trying to think.
Yeah, the Bundys would be like the Christian Heritage Party, maybe, or
Yes.
yeah, I would say, which they weren't too happy to get their big gallon tub of lube, by the way, last week.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. I hope people keep sending them bags of dicks, because apparently they probably need more.
Ashley, here's a question for you.
Okay.
Now, from my perspective, I'm looking, I've been following the politics for years. It's never my intention. But like I look at some of the stuff that we are hearing, and I'm not talking about major issue. I'm talking about all this bullshit stuff, the outright lies, like, oh, I stabbed somebody when I was a teenager,
Yeah.
that type of shit. Do you think that, like, in a sense, the GOP specifically is regressing?
I do. But that's just what I'm seeing. I don't know if it's because I only associate myself with like us, who follow the same thing, I don't hear so much about GOP as I have in the past, but I don't know if it's because of how I've changed my ways.
Well, that's what I was driving for. I mean, like, because you're from the South. I'm a Yankee through and through.
All about down here. I'm going to tell you that, honey.
And I learned the hard way, just so you know, that you never call a Southerner a Yank.
No.
See, up here, we used to always call all Americans were Yanks. And then when I met the ex who was from Virginia and I said something about you Yanks, oh, mama, he lost his shit over that one.
Yeah.
Because he's from Richmond and very happy to point out that was the seat of the Confederate government during the, quote, War of Northern Aggression. So,
well, see, and that's funny because I'm like, I think I'm an hour and a half from the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's why I call it Pennsylvania. And from what I've found over the years, I'm not the only one from this area of Pennsylvania that calls it Pennsylvania. So I don't.
Yeah.
But it's like it's really like being caught in between two. I grew up in New York. I grew up in Buffalo, and which is totally different than New York City. But I've also been down south, and it's like right where I'm at is like this DMZ zone.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. It's like,
I just had a brain fart, Ashley.
Yes.
If Bobby's mom gets out of line, I'm so gonna call her a Yank.
That would work.
I bet it would. Sorry.
Hey, I'm working on having drag queens at the.
Oh yes, that would be so awesome.
I'm working on it. I'll open up the curtain just.
Well, now, my sort of friend that I don't really talk to anymore, but when him and his wife got married, his wife's family are Reformed Mennonite, so like they have electricity and they drive cars and stuff, but they're still like super conservative. And they first of all they had a Wiccan hand fasting for a wedding. And so that was fun because there was a Wiccan priestess and not a preacher there.
Oh, wow.
And my job as the quote best man was to keep the father of the bride away from the Wiccan priestess. But at they had they didn't really have a reception. They had a dinner at a local Indian restaurant, and so they had belly dancer. And the groom made sure to tell the belly dancer that she needed to go and dance for the father of the bride, like up close and personal. So yeah, that was amusing.
Sounds like it. But yeah,
But I would love to see Bobby's mom have to watch drag queens.
Oh, me too. Oh,
and if you get ones that are like really like you can't tell, that would even be better.
Working on
it. Oh yeah. Sorry, we digressed a little bit there, but you know, we hadn't ribbed on Bobby's mom for a few days, so.
Been around for a couple of weeks, so let's see, when was the last time we saw them? I don't know, Christmas.
Well, no, she showed up at the hospital.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did see her at the hospital.
Yeah, because you had to spend all day with her, and that wasn't so fun.
Yeah, Bobby's finger has been like the size of a golf ball.
What the hell did he do to his finger now?
He bites his nails.
Okay.
Okay. And I think he got some type of infection or something, and his middle finger, this finger right there, going around flicking everybody off and showing his finger. Yeah. So he had to go to the doctor today, but he was like, because that's another thing. The VA was, it's like this. If you have an emergency, you need to go to the emergency room. The VA is by appointment only. And I told him, I said, you text your nurse, you call up at the VA, and you tell them you want to see somebody today, unless they are willing to put in your notes that it's okay for you to go to the emergency room.
Yep.
So he called me. He was like, my nurse told me I could go to the doctor. I said, okay, go to the doctor.
Well, that's the same, not to digress even further, but that's the same problem those of us on Medicaid have an issue with as well, is that we have to go to our general practitioners first, unless it's a true emergency. You shouldn't just go to the ER. They're trying to push people away from it, which I can see now that we have like triage places.
Right.
As being as rural as it, but that's, if you need to go to the emergency room, you should be able to go to the emergency room without asking mommy for a permission slip.
Exactly.
Because that's about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially for our veterans.
Right.
Yes. Here, even though here you're supposed to have a GP that, you go see and then they refer you to specialists or whatever. You can go not only to any emergency room at any time, no matter what, we also have a whole network of walk-in clinics that you can also go to at any time that you wish. So if you feel like, say it's not an emergency room situation, but you still want to be seen that day, you have every right to go to the walk-in clinic if your doctor can't see you the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Those are becoming popular in this area. In fact, where I go, even though my doctor is located there, it is actually a walk-in clinic, and those are actually becoming more popular, at least in this area, and I think they are nationwide.
We used to have a bunch of them, but I think we're down to like one now.
Oh, jeez. Well, Bobby, I hope his finger goes down to normal soon. So is he's got it all bandaged up and he's walking around flipping everybody off, huh?
Oh, actually, you know why? I won't say this out loud.
Okay.
You don't hear me, but he's actually being a little whiny little baby.
Ooh.
Oh my God,
Uh-oh.
oh my God, don't touch my finger, don't, oh, it hurts. He was up all night last night. I got up at like 3 o'clock this morning, walked in the living room and said, "What in the hell are you doing?" He said, "My finger hurts." I'm like, "Okay, I'm going back to bed." I mean, I imagine his finger did hurt.
Yeah.
I really did. But I'm the type.
I will say in his defense, sometimes the littlest of cuts can be the most
Can
painful.
hurt. They can.
Yeah.
Well,
I get these little nicks.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what he's got is a little. He's got a little. I mean, and like I said, I do know it hurts.
So like they lance the infected area, right?
Yes, twice.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like this, I mean, it's like they took. I don't know. I wasn't there, but he explained it to me, and he said it was like he took this needle or something and just jammed it into the side of his finger, and I'm like, ooh.
Hey.
No, he's gonna kill me for putting this out there on the air, but I don't care.
Well, as long as he's not in the ER scaring us all thinking he's having a damn heart attack, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
He can whine all he wants about his finger.
Yeah.
No more majors.
Yeah.
So you guys want to play some free association?
Sure.
Mike Huckabee.
Ass hat.
Ashley?
Dumbass.
Okay. Twat. I'm sorry, anybody that supports the Duggars. Yeah, no.
Or Kim douchebag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll come back to that.
We'll have to come back to that.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Corporate.
I don't even know if I'd say corporate.
I only get that because of the anti-Hillary memes I keep seeing from the Bernie crowd.
Yeah, it's kind of like, if she doesn't win, if she does win, I don't think
My concern.
I will say it's going to be fucking weird for me if she does because we already had 2 shrubs. I'm on a second Trudeau and now Clinton part 2. I'm like, am I back in like the 70s to the 90s again?
Hey, it could be worse. It could come down to a Bush Clinton.
Oh, fuck. I thought he quit already. He's still
No, he's still hanging in there.
hanging in there.
He was like 4th in the polls. But I was sitting there and I was thinking, I was like, now watch this. Because, look, the American people want I'm trying to say this word. Familiarity.
Yes.
Is that correctly? Okay. So you've got some of the American population that are going to look at it and go, okay, Bush, we know what he's going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, because of the previous Bushes that we've had. And then you're looking at Hillary Clinton, they're going, okay, well, we know what she's going to bring.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if it comes down to a Bush-Clinton election.
So, but right now he's kind of gone from jab to jab.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that.
Still in there, buddy?
I'm like, that's like the dumbest campaign slogan ever. Jab! Oh shit! By the way, Katie said that the GOP began their downfall with Reagan.
I agree. I can agree.
Yeah.
Who the hell lets a fucking actor run the country? Really?
The same people that let a wrestler run a state.
Yes.
And a bodybuilder run a state.
Bodybuilder in and out. Like Jesse Ventura, man, that guy is nuts. I used to
I like
watch
Jesse.
him on wrestling with his pink feather boa and his he put little jewels in his chin cleft and
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. For some odd reason, I actually do like Jesse Ventura, but I don't know
he's like
why.
conspiracy nutter extraordinaire. Oh, speaking of jewels, and this is like totally nothing to do with politics, but Miss Ashley, remember what I told you I found out about last week?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, apparently one can go and get your lady bits bedazzled.
No way.
Didn't I
Oh
tell you that?
yeah.
You did. Oh my! I was in the hospital when you told me that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, my massage therapist, we talk about all kinds of bizarre things, And yeah, she told me that you can go to a spa and you can have your lady bits bedazzled, or she called
What?
it no,
Guys,
vajazzling or something. Yeah. I'm just like, what the fuck?
what you know what? If that's what a woman wants to do with her, what is it called? Rahana?
Say that again. You went.
What was that word that the Canadian was using last night for Rahana? And I thought he said a vagina or something.
Oh, Regina. It's
Giant
Regina. Yeah.
vagina. And I'm like, what?
No, it's not Regina and it's not vagina. It's Regina.
If a woman wants to go get her Regina bedazzled, that's her right. That's just
It is. It is. I just think it's a bit odd, but okay. Because
it's
I said I'd end up getting that shit stuck all over everything.
no. The hard part would be to be sitting there while they're like, but that no.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm, I'm
let me say this. I have a friend who has 6.
No.
no.
3 on
We're
each side.
but we're not talking about piercings, Beth. We're talking about like going and getting stuff stuck on
Yeah.
as part of the landscaping.
Yes.
Okay. So she had
She
it
also has
permanently?
implants. Yeah, she has implants.
Oh, Jesus. So we're talking like the guy that has shit on his head so
Yes.
he can screw spikes at. Whoa, okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's
Not
and
going
yes,
to get
I have seen it.
bedazzled.
Although it wasn't my choice. Yeah. It's
Beth
yeah.
was Beth was flashed against her will, I guess.
A photograph.
Okay, photograph. So forget about
Yeah.
dick pics. It's a vajazzled pic.
Yeah. Yeah, just let's say my mind was blown. I was like, seriously? I'm very old fashioned in my it's
Yeah.
like, okay.
Because I mean, like, I know of people that have things pierced and whatnot, and I'm like, okay, I had my tongue done and my nose, and that was enough for me. I'm done with that. Tattoos, I'll get lots more of those, but I don't need no more holes, thanks. Yeah. But anyway, I completely sidetracked that, but.
Marco Rubio.
It's okay. You can sidetrack that.
Marco Rubio, the other Latin guy.
Yes, from Florida.
Yeah, Rubio.
No, seriously, who?
Yeah. Well,
Now, see, I think he's the wild card.
wasn't there some shenanigans about whether he was eligible to run due to citizenship or some shit?
But I think it got
Yeah, but I don't think there's any legitimacy to his situation where Ted Cruz's is quite interesting depending on how you want to look at it. And I think it's something that needs to be rectified before he's allowed.
Well, just
And
one thing is very clear. We do not want that fucker back. Okay? Like, there is a no return policy. You get Bieber and you get Cruz and Celine Dion and all those people. There, sorry, no returns.
well, I think for me, as far as Ted Cruz's citizenship issue is, allegedly his mother was on the voting rolls for Canada.
Yes.
Now, one explanation I heard was that it's possible to be on the voting rolls, but by mistake for oversimplification.
Yes.
The other explanation boils down to that uh, she was never on the voting roll, so there's a question about that. So technically, if she was actually listed on the voting rolls, they need to determine one, how she got there, and was it because she actually voted, and if so, then he is a Canadian citizen. Right.
Well, he
Am
never.
I correct in that?
He always was a Canadian citizen because he was physically born here. He has actually renounced his Canadian citizenship, so technically we can't take him back anyway, just so you know. But now for her to be voting, she could have become a naturalized citizen.
Right, which would make him fully Canadian.
No. No. Because if she's a naturalized citizen, see, we're not like America. We don't make you renounce your home country citizenship.
Ah, okay.
So if you become a naturalized Canadian citizenship, you are still a citizen of your birth country.
Okay, and that would, I think that's where they're driving, that needs to be clarified.
Yeah. In which case, really, it shouldn't matter, but, yeah, do you know what her name was?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to.
Because the other thing is, if it's a common enough name and they were living in a big enough urban center, it could easily be a completely different person with the same name, too.
Yeah. I mean, do I think it should become an issue in the sense of what they've tried to make the whole birther issue with Obama? No, but I think it does need to be clarified.
Yeah.
Independently in some way, shape, or form. I do, if it's determined that yes, he's eligible to run, then the issue needs to be dropped and let go, because it's
or
bullshit.
we'll be like Obama, where it's 8 years later, and it's like, okay, what do those people think they're going to accomplish if, for some bizarre reason, they were able to prove that he wasn't born in America? He's been fucking president for 8 years. You're done. Like,
yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, part of me says, he's ineligible. There's a question about his eligibility. Until that is resolved, he should not be able to run. But then there's a part of me that takes into consideration what you said. It could just be a simple mix-up, whatever, or the fact that even though she was a naturalized Canadian citizen, yada. So that, but to take it, once that's resolved, to take it beyond that, like what's happened with President Obama. No, it should, once that's done and over. And it's funny because it's, of course, Donald Trump is one of the big pushers of it.
Of course.
And there's a few others on the right side that I don't really think any of the Democrats, now I could be wrong, have really made, other than maybe passing remarks, at least from what I've seen. They basically, A-okay, just go with the flow. Now if something comes to light that would change that, they might make more of a stink out of it. But I don't think, at least from what I can see or what I've seen, that they've really made an issue. It's all coming from his own, quote, party, so to speak. I think is kind of bizarre.
Maybe it's because they're figuring out he's a dumbass and they're trying to figure out how to get rid of him.
Well, a lot of people, that's the general consensus is basically because who's actually going to be running the government, he or his father?
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Because I mean, for those that are not aware, his father Raphael is one of the main proponents of the Seven Mountains Mandate. And now Teddy Cruz Jr. doesn't seem to be into the whole Seven Mountains per se, at least not publicly. He's more, but he's definitely a theocrat. I mean, he definitely wants to rule by biblical law, and he's supported Kevin Swanson, and who basically wants to kill all the gays.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yes, another one of those freako people.
Well, I know the reaction I'm going to get to this name, Richard Trigg.
Who?
Yeah, he's another religionist that's got an interesting story. I'll post the links to these stories about him so y'all can look into them. But it's just like, so let's see who we've already kind of talked about Bernie. We're all burned out.
Yes. I do not feel the burn. I am burned out.
Yeah. Let's see. We hit Jeb. I'm trying to think if I've hit them all.
Jeb?
Yep. I know there's more that I've missed, like Santorum.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's Rand Paul.
Yeah, what's up with him now? Because I've heard there's some sort of like atheisty non-conservatives that I've heard sort of saying they would vote for him.
You broke up.
I said, what's with Rand Paul? I've heard of some non-right-wingers saying that they might vote for him.
Well, I wish Dave was here because he would be able to address this better than I. He considers himself a libertarian. Now,
okay.
From my understanding, if I understand what Dave has commented about, is that he's really not a libertarian per se. He has some of the ideology, but he's not really, basically a libertarian, if I'm understanding correctly. It basically hands off government, small government,
Right.
But yeah, Rand Paul, he's nothing like his dad, that's for sure. But
I'm guessing his dad would not be RuPaul.
No, Ru is not his daddy.
Okay,
well, he
good.
might be his daddy, but he's not his father.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to.
I know. It's just when you're like RuPaul or Rand Paul's daddy, I'm like, RuPaul!
Yeah. It's just, yeah, he's another, he doesn't really have a prayer. Well, Scott Walker's out of it, so.
That's good.
There's just, yeah, that's who the Cokes wanted. It was, and then our favorite. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, it's fine.
I was going to say our favorite Chris Christie.
Oh, yes. Yes. Mr. Shut Down the Bridge guy.
Yeah.
Man.
Does he do anything else?
He gets on the news and speaks about New Jersey underwater.
Okay.
How he could get on his helicopter to get back to New Jersey because they was flooding. And I thought, why didn't you use that helicopter to go help rescue people out of the flooding waters?
That is a very good point. I guess they just weren't New Jersey enough.
Apparently. Apparently. So I I wanted to bring up, we had a gentleman on the show last night. His name was Corey, and
Yes.
he is Canadian. Matter of fact, he's the one that taught me the name Regina.
Yes, because we were having a lot of fun with Regina last night, weren't we?
Still having fun with that one. It's caught me off guard. Well, anyways, he is going to have Saskatchewan's first Shift to Reason conference, April 30th.
Yes.
2016. It is from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can go to www.shift2reason.com. By the sounds of it, it sounds like it's the Reason Con of Canada.
Well, we kind of had that in Toronto, but we'll give Saskatchewan some props too. Because I will say they've managed to land the unholy trinity, and now we had Dr. Krause, which was pretty awesome.
That was pretty.
Yes, but they did manage to land the unholy trinity, so that's pretty awesome too.
And what I understand, I'm not sure. I'm trying to pull it up on the website. But, yeah, they do have the Unholy Trinity, Aaron Ra, Matt Dillahunty, and
Seth Andrews.
They got Lavada. I'm going to totally screw this up. Lavada Loonwing, Lavava
Yep.
Lning. Will Arnell, Nathan Phelps is going to be there.
Yes, Nathan.
Oh.
Angela Redicop.
Uh-huh.
She is going to be there, and I'm trying to pull up the ticket information because if I remember correctly, they're really
it's like $100 Canadian for the day.
Yeah.
So 70.
Check it out. It's shifterreason.com.
Yes. We wanted to mention that because it's very cool, and we need more conferences up here.
Yes.
So now, if I didn't have somebody's wedding to go to, I would probably try and go to that. But
No, wedding. No.
Uh-huh.
You've only got 2 conferences that you're allowed to go to this year, and that is Reason Rally and Wedding Con.
Wedding Con, okay. Because I'm hosting Christmas Con, so that's a given. What was that? You
snowed in at Deborah's house.
Yeah, Christmas at my place. So, yeah, and somebody's going to get a passport so she can come, right?
Yes.
Looking on it.
Okay, good.
I heard, but I'm not sure. I think Jim was telling me there's a passport that you can buy for like $40, and it's
it's 120.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there it goes.
What's the normal passport if that's the skimpy passport?
Well, the one I would need to travel between the States and Canada, it's I think it's my dad. I talked to my dad about it. I'll have to double check with Shujin and a few other people. It's between, depending on where you get it, it's between like 40 and 120.
Yeah.
That's including the photo and everything else and all the paperwork. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to first get my photo ID, but I'm kind of waiting till I have my eye surgery because I may not have to have my glasses, or if I don't have to wear them anymore, then I want to get rid of them.
Right.
So you bastards over there, get on with the fucking eye surgery already. Like, come on, people.
Yeah, wholeheartedly, I agree.
Yep. So, ladies, do we want to make a prediction yet, or do we want to wait till later?
Let's make a prediction now, and then let's see what happens. Let's make a prediction of who it's going to come down to, and for the election.
Okay. So we're predicting the candidates then.
I'm going to go with Hillary and Bush.
Okay. Sad to say it, but I think it might be Hillary and Trump.
It may be.
I'm going with Bernie Sanders and Marco Rubio.
Ooh, okay. Well, this will be interesting. So when
I
do they?
mean,
Because I don't know.
primary started today.
Okay, because I was gonna say I don't know
I,
shit. So when do they know who the candidate's gonna be?
well, the
That's
primary season started today in Iowa. So
Okay.
actually, by the time we're done, they might even actually have a result.
Ooh.
But the general election, let's see, usually,
it's in July.
what is,
I think
yeah,
we.
July or August. I can't remember which.
I looked it up
One's
this.
in
Okay.
July, one's in July and one's in August.
Okay, so
And
after Reason Rally.
I mean, as much as I would like to see Hillary because I like Hillary, I think she's a very powerful woman in a sense that she's, who she is, not, but
You froze there for a
I
second after who she is.
yeah, I would love to see her just because of who she is, or who she is, not what she is. But
Yeah.
I have big hesitations because she does have theocratic ties, and that bothers me.
Right. Okay.
She is tied into to the quote the family or C-suite.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't know if she's been active or not. I have to look into that yet.
Okay. Well, we will see. We'll have to revisit it then after they figure out who the hell's gonna run.
This is going to be exciting.
Oh yeah. I just if one more person asks me if I feel to burn, though, I may have to burn down Facebook. I'm just saying.
Well, I want to see how many more candidates we end up with, not just
So
necessarily on
so
the.
when's the cutoff for putting your hat in the ring?
I don't. I think it's like what 30 days before the election.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So if a candidate can come up and say I want to run for president and they've already had the primaries, how the hell does that work?
Independent.
Yeah, they would have
Oh,
to
okay.
run as a third party independent. But the problem with that is, and this is why I think the system is kind of rigged, so to speak, is that as an independent, you might not get on all 50 states ballots. You
Yeah.
might only be on five states, so you really don't have a prayer. A lot of some
So
states don't have to accept your candidate. I don't know the rules
okay.
what the quote regulations are, how that's controlled, but every state is different on how you get on their ballots. And that's one of the stunts they tried to pull with President Obama in the last election is they were trying to get him knocked off of some of the states.
See, that's just stupid. That's just a disaster waiting to happen. Like ours is very like if you qualify as a candidate for a federal election, you are on every fucking ballot everywhere, no matter what. Like it's only like some of the small parties that don't run in certain ridings, but that's their choice. Like if they don't feel like they could sustain candidates, they'll be strategic. They'll run a candidate where they think they might have a better showing. And like we're talking things like the marijuana party and the the pirate party, which both of which I wish would fucking run here so I could vote for one of them, but no, they never do. I have to like move to Toronto or some shit so I could vote for those guys. I want to vote for the pirate party. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a good
Oh,
pastafarian.
yeah. Going back to Hillary, some of the issues that individuals have with her is that she has flip-flopped on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Don't ask
Right.
me what it is. I'm not quite sure. Private prisons, which is a huge issue for me.
Yes.
Single-payer health care. She's flip-flopped on that, but I don't know if I would consider it flip-flopping because she knows what she went through in '93 when Bill was in office. They actually
Yeah.
tried, and that's actually where Obamacare comes from, is her initial initiative. What we know as Obamacare is actually the Heritage Foundation's plan that they
Yeah.
put out to counter her, that was
Yeah.
adopted by Mitt Romney in Massachusetts. That's the basis of Obamacare. It's actually, I mean, President Obama wanted single payer. What we have, Obamacare, is the compromise.
Right.
She's marriage equality, which we've mentioned. She's supposedly flip-flopped on the Keystone XL pipeline. She's flip-flopped on the raising the minimum wage and, of course, the Iraq War, which
Right.
Bernie Sanders basically was against it and has been against it since day one. So those are some issues people have with her as far as...
Okay. Well, before we wrap, there's a couple other comments from Katie that I wanted to hit too. When we were talking about Palin's idiocy earlier and how a lot of the GOP candidates are just lying all the time, and says that Palin's son, who was never in combat, supposedly has PTSD, and it's Obama's fault, even though it has nothing to do with having a nut job for a mom.
Well,
I can't believe Palin blamed that shit off on PTSD, man.
I know.
well, I think we have to make a distinction, as we are not, at least I am not, discounting that Trig may have, or Trig, what's his name?
Track. Who the fuck named your kid Track?
Good God.
Like,
Whether
there's
he has
PTSD right there. He's
yeah,
probably
whether
fucking
he
bullied.
has PTSD is not the issue for me.
It's
anyway.
how he may have acquired it, and they were trying to make
No,
it
not even that.
Uh-huh.
It's her using it as the way she is. Whether Trig
Right.
has PTSD or Track, God, I can't even keep the kid's name straight. She never should have brought him into the picture.
No.
Ever.
I mean, all she had to do is make some kind of statement to address the issue and move on.
And really, what he is accused, I don't even know why it was even. Well, I know why it was publicized, but the fact that he had an incident involving domestic violence and possible PTSD. I'm sorry. I mean, that shouldn't even be being talked about. I mean, hopefully, I mean, the law will take care of that aspect. If he does truly have PTSD, and I have no reason to doubt that he doesn't, regardless of whether he was in combat or not, hopefully that will be addressed as well. But for her to do what she did is just, seriously, I have friends who are military veterans who have PTSD. And yes, you don't necessarily have to be a vet to have PTSD. I have it.
I know.
You know, so whether he has PTSD or not, it to me is not the issue. It's how she's using this to basically attack the president. That's all she does.
Oh, yeah. That's all she does. And Katie also said that she actually has a cousin named Regina. She says I have no idea how to spell that, but it does rhyme with vagina. Yeah, and just to address, like last night, people were talking about how to pronounce it, and that it actually comes from the royal, talking about the Queen, and it is Regina. If you're talking like Victoria Regina or Elizabeth Regina, it would be Regina, but for whatever reason, we decided on Regina, so there we go.
Regina.
Well, as I said in the chat last night, we actually have dildo Newfoundland, and nobody raises an eyebrow about that.
Yeah, so y'all don't have people like us up there.
Yeah. Well, when I first made my Facebook profile, and I thought that I would want to be like completely anonymous, that's where I said I was from. If you look under places I've lived,
I
it
remember.
says that I lived in Dildo, Newfoundland, but I never have. I've never set foot on the island,
Forgot
but
about that.
I just thought it was funny to be from Dildo.
I'm
I
so
forgot about that.
What's that, Ashley?
I'm so gonna Google that.
Oh, do. Absolutely. It's not too far from Conception Bay.
What? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
didn't you go through Intercourse, PA?
I believe we did, yes.
Mhm.
But there was no dildo on the way.
What's the other?
Oh,
There's another.
Katie's
Oh,
got
Climax.
Katie says you guys have Coming and Climax in
Yeah,
Georgia.
we had. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have a Climax, I think, in PA too.
Yes.
Okay.
Coming in a climax.
Well, you have to check out Conception Bay and dildo.
Dildo pulled up. Somebody had a. Now I kind of understand why they named it dildo. It does kind of look like a.
Like it should have a lanyard and a spout on it.
Oh, there it is. Wait, gotta pull out my anal probe. Wait. Where's my anal probe? Come here.
There it is.
The anal
There
probe.
it is. Woohoo!
I wonder if they could have used this last night on the X-Files.
Oh, did that premiere last night?
Yes, it did. Where was that
Oh
thing?
shit!
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go find it.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too. So if you find it before me, send it.
I will do that. Well, we better wrap this pony show up for the evening because we're actually a bit over time. But you know, there's only so much crazy that can be contained in 2 hours.
I do have one thing before we close out.
Okay.
For those of you under a rock, basically Planned Parenthood was pretty much cleared.
Yes.
Which we all know they should have been anyways. It never should have been.
And we're talking about the infamous baby parts videos.
Yes. I have the headline from the Christian News, and I chose them for a reason. Basically, as they reported, a Houston grand jury investigating undercover footage of Planned Parenthood found no wrongdoing Monday by the abortion provider, and instead indicted anti-abortion activists involved in making the videos that provoked outrage among, and this is what I find comical, Republican leaders nationwide. David Daladin, founder of the Center for Medical Progress, was indicted on a felony charge of tampering with a governmental record and a misdemeanor count related to purchasing human organs. Another activist, Sandra Merritt, was also indicted on a charge of tampering with a governmental record. It's the first time anyone in the group has been charged criminally since the videos started surfacing last year. So.
Good. I hope they nail those fuckers to the wall.
Fucking bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
So basically, those that have supported these videos, I haven't really read much yet tonight, but are just up in arms. They are calling this tyranny and every other stupid word
that
they
for
can
fuck's
come up with, saying
sakes.
governmental overreach. The grand jury did not have a right to do what they did. They should have just stuck to the initial charges. They had no right to charge and blah blah. It's just, yeah.
You know, and the beauty of this is if they cream these guys and they get convicted, then I think the families of the victims of Colorado should sue those fuckers for wrongful death.
Well, there is actually a case, I don't know where it stands, but the rumor mill has that is exactly what the families are going to do.
Excellent.
And from
Because there's
what I've read, all of them are going to, not just one or two.
good. Good.
That's just
Because there's no dispute whether Deer is got mental issues or not. There is no dispute that those videos contributed directly to his actions.
I agree with you there. So there's been some movement, and did we already mention about the Kentucky? I can't remember.
No.
AIG.
Oh no, we didn't. Or did? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I don't remember
So
if it was on air or not.
I'll post both, but if we did an AIG one against Kentucky, they are going to be allowed to discriminate.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we did on air or not. Yeah, and just a little bit of a juxtaposition. So sadly, we actually had a school shooting in Canada on Friday in Saskatchewan, and it was a young 17-year-old that killed 4 people in his school, 2 teachers, and unfortunately 2 brothers from the same family. And number one, we're not losing our shit over guns. And number two, everybody agrees it's a huge tragedy, but under our law, they can't even identify the name of the shooter. All we know is that it's a 17-year-old boy from the school. So, and it's in the biggest controversy right now is that the mayor of the town where it happened is calling that the school should be torn down and rebuilt. And everybody's like, we can't afford that shit. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? So that's the biggest controversy surrounding that.
His heart's in the right place, but his mind's not thinking clearly.
Well, exactly. I mean, somebody I saw comment, if we go around tearing down every building that someone suffered a tragedy in, like, what, we'd just be continuously rebuilding shit.
Right. Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people just don't think with their heads, but go ahead.
And I have one other little piece of news that for anybody that follows my blog specifically, they know that I do follow Alliance Defending Freedom and the faux LGBTIQ stuff and the influence of people like Scott Lively and Peter LaBarbiera and how our meddling has caused issues in Uganda and Russia. And for people that I am making this shit up, or that it's not Abbott today, is addressing the anti-gay, anti-choice hate group Alliance Defending Freedom, who paid for his air ticket. Okay, now for those that are not familiar with Alliance Defending Freedom, and if you've listened to our show enough, you've heard the name, they are basically the ones behind the Kleins, and these faux persecution cases. I won't say they are in cahoots with Liberty Counsel, but they are basically the same ideology. Basically, they are helping, they're the worst anti-gay organization in the world. They're active in 31 countries, and they actively encourage and help governments to maintain and extend the criminalization of homosexuality. And, while they're based in the States, they basically bludgeon the LGBTQI plus people with court cases and actions. So, yeah.
Wasn't Lively indicted on crimes against humanity or something?
Yeah, as far as his case goes specifically, he has been indicted. The case has been allowed to move forward. As of 3 weeks ago was the last time I checked, and there has been no progress on the case. It
Okay.
hasn't come to court yet. Although they think they said it should start in April. So yes, I will be blocking that. Scott Lively is a cunt. He's a prick. He's a dick, and the man, in my opinion, needs to be executed.
I don't
Yeah,
blame you.
he spits hate and he preaches it.
Yeah.
He's worse than Kevin Swanson and Steven Anderson in my book. I mean, his revisionist history, especially of Nazi Germany, he's responsible for the book Pink Swastika. And
yes.
The whole Hitler was gay, the SS was gay.
Oh,
All that kind of, yeah, he's like he is personally responsible for the Kill the Gay bills in Uganda, as is Rick Warren.
Yes. And he's also been trying to influence Putin to be more...
yes, actually, there are direct ties between another gentleman in his organization whose names escape me, with what's going down in Russia, although it's quieted down a little bit. But last year they had a big uproar in crimes against the LGBT. So yeah, he's directly responsible for it, and he is directly responsible for what is going on in Uganda specifically.
Scumbag. Well, Beth, where do we find you?
Easiest way is on Twitter, Dune998. I'm actually getting a little bit more comfortable with using Twitter, although I'm not good at it. And that does connect to my blog, which is Havoc and Chaos, which is on Blogger. You can just type that in and you'll most likely find me. I'm also on G+, although I suck at it, under Beth H. And everything connects to my Facebook, which is Beth A. Hambridge.
Yeah.
And I welcome any and all comments, but please do not try to proselytize me.
Yeah, that won't get you very far. Miss Ashley, where do we find you?
Let's see. You can find me every Sunday night on Spreaker at 7 p.m. on No Religion Required. You can find me on Facebook at Miss Ashley of NRR, or I'm on Twitter, Miss_Ashley NRR.
Okay.
And
awesome.
Where did we find you this week?
Well, let's see. I'm here, of course. Atheist Apocalypse is preparing to launch season 2 by next week, so get excited about that. You can go and find our back catalog at atheistapocalypse.com. There's also some stuff with a couple of the characters on hiatus that we're busy doing some things. You can check out there. Now, this week, as some of you know, I also do a Holy Crap, the Vlogcast on Sunday mornings at midnight. And that is Sunday morning, like right when Sunday starts at midnight. And this week is going to be really cool. It's the 100th episode, and it's going to be Shujin and the Ladies. And it's going to be a star-studded cast because, aside myself, we are actually having Tracy Harris and Beth Presswood, and Miss Shelley Segal is going to come and sing for us. Ooh. So that's really exciting. So again, that's Holy Crap, the Vlogcast, that can be found on YouTube and Google Plus and Facebooks and all of that. You can also find it through Shujin Tribble, who's everywhere under that name. So we're excited about that. Yeah, I did Atheist Apocalypse, so I think that about does it for this week. I don't have any news about Secular Savior yet, but I'm hoping we'll be able to relaunch that very soon. So I think, unless anyone has anything else they need to plug, are we all good?
No, sounds great to me. Don't forget about the Shift to Reason.
ShiftToReason.com. Yes, so if you are able to get to Regina and see the Unholy Trinity and Nate Phelps and some other fine folks, then please do that. Sounds like a really worthwhile gig. Yeah, shift2reason.com. That's with 2 T's, just so you know.
That's right.
So, thanks for watching, folks. And, oh, and one other thing, too. What does Katie say? At least we've got Neil Young. So I just wanted to say thank you to a listener that sent Beth some extra equipment this week so that her signal was boosted. Seems to be working pretty well. You can see some more connections in the area, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. But yes, I got the, I'll call it the antenna for lack of a better word. And also, yes, I am using my old headphones as, for some odd reasons, the headphones that were also sent don't seem to want to work with my computer. So I need to get a hub, as I am out of USB ports, because I have 3 hard drives. So yeah, I have to figure. Yeah, a little birdie up in Canada keeps dropping them off to me, but I have the newest one, by the way, halfway filled with video already, which is kind of cool. But my other 2 are now pretty much empty. So yeah. So I have a sneaking suspicion I know who the benefactor was, and I do greatly appreciate it, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Excellent. All right, ladies. Yep.
One correction. I'm not sure if the Iowa thingy was tonight or not, because I just got an email saying next week, so I don't know if that's tonight or next week. So.
Okay. I'm just a Canuck. I don't even get a say in that shit, so I'm just the whatever. But if you're an American and you are interested or have a half a brain, get your ass out there and vote and like make a difference and like vote these crazy people out of here, please. Yeah. Because yeah. All right, ladies. Well, we'll be back here next week. I don't think we've quite figured out what we're going to talk about next week, but that's okay because that's just how we roll. And we have a good lineup coming up in February. We'll give you more details about that starting next week. And until then, our friend Mr. Foda is going to roll us out with the Humanist Creed. So, ladies, if you could mute, and we'll see everyone next week.
I know the truth and power of reason and of rational thinking, and I will use them to my advantage. I know the truth and power of educating myself and of expanding my intellectual boundaries, and I will educate myself. I know the truth and power of vanquishing ignorance, and I will do so whenever the opportunity presents itself. I know the truth and power of morality without supervision, and of true and accurate righteousness. I know the truth and power of obliterating tyranny, be it intellectual, emotional, or philosophical, and will work toward that goal whenever and however possible. I know the truth and power of human ingenuity. I know the truth and power of human compassion, and I will be mindful of the welfare of others. I know the truth and power of equality and fairness for all living things. I know the truth and power of the importance of our families, our friends, and our fellow men and women. I know the truth and power of human stewardship of our lands, our waters, and our skies, and I will try to act to preserve our environment. I know the truth and power of the sciences of mathematics, of physics, and of chemistry, and of the important role of these disciplines in understanding the workings of this cosmos. I know the truth and power of the rejection of all notions or beliefs that reside in the supernatural or the superstitious, and of those notions or beliefs that we are not supposed to be able to explain. And I know that these rejections are necessary for humankind's survival. I am a human being with a free mind, liberated from irrational influence and from unreasonable dogma.